identification, the fourth way, or attachment, we initially struggle with it, try to free ourselves from it by training attention and using, divided attention and all the tools that they are in the practices that ever deepen in the fourth way. But we start by consciousness being less attached to thoughts, less caught in daydreaming, less attached into emotional center or the instinctive center. That's how we start. But ultimately, this attachment of consciousness with the intellectual center, emotional center, instinctive center creates a bigger problem. It creates this sense of me as a person. So from one angle, all of this, basically imagination, identification, expression of negative emotions, and inner considering, which is part of identification, being identified with how I appear, wanting to get approval, wanting to be recognized, worried, all of this also, it's a big law. So all of this, they create and solidify and maintain the sense of me being a person, like me the body, me the mind, me separate. And now I'm another object in this world of objects. So I believe, I sense that by doing this preliminary work of not getting identified, being less identified with thoughts, feelings, sensations, opinions, attitudes, it's almost like makes the cloudy atmosphere less cloudy, so it starts to be more of a sky. And then, with the right pointers, we can have a glimpse, like consciousness has a glimpse of itself, like, oh, wow, these thoughts come and go, and there's the experiential taste of the presence tasting itself, and then that's a glimpse of our true nature. In modern day traditions, that sometimes that's considered to be the ultimate, that's to be the end of the goal, just had a glimpse of our true nature. But in our understanding and even solid, more thorough Advaita Vedanta as well as fourth way, that is not the end of the goal. That is just the true beginning of the path. That's now we are going somewhere. Before there was like a preparation, that we're on the path to the path. So once we have that experiential taste, presence as a taste of itself, now self-remembering, it's self-remembering now means much more. So true self-remembering is now coming back to that, coming back to knowingly being the being. And then I guess later, this will be more like in a deeper advanced states, this having more frequency, more duration, more depth, more depth and more death of the false self, then there is like self-remembering is mixed with God remembering. Remember there was this Sufi master that we used to study when we were in that school, Gurdjieff from the Naqshbandi order. He would say what Gurdjieff would say. Gurdjieff would say, remember yourself with every breath, or you remember yourself always and everywhere. And this Sufi master would say, remember God always and everywhere. So at some point, I guess, Atman realizes it is Brahman. The presence realizes it's the all. Because for you, I believe, and for us in the fourth way, for me too, I believe, there was this preliminary work, purifying work, where the self, the consciousness didn't know itself for a long time. But we formed this work personality and this inner practitioner that has different names in the fourth way, goes through various stages of getting stronger. And then there starts to be knowing the Mihai with the different personalities, the different roles, the different most mechanical tendencies. struggling with these sleep tendencies. So this was for you and for me. We did this for like years and years and years without knowing what we are. But there was the purifying effect. And then at some point there's this glimpse, yeah, that we talk about, and where actually Francis talks about it. At that moment, the path of the individual ends. You are on the path of being an individual trying to attain something. Now starts the path of Shiva, the path of, hey, now the path is that I'm still walking the path as consciousness, not as an individual. So now that's from an angle what they call these days awakening. I had an awakening, and I used to work with people in a more like spiritual community as helping them process trauma. 1 in 3 people who come to me, they said that they had an awakening, and I was like, okay, very nice. What do you mean by that? And what is still here? So in the fourth way, it's a very, I think to land there, that just having a glimpse of our true nature and to say, well, I was already that. It's my birthright. That's it. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. That is a big, that's sad to stop there. It's a bummer. It's a misunderstanding. And it's the utility of some kind of avoiding work and laziness. Or just innocent ignorance. I'm sorry. Now, even in solid, direct path, Advaita Vedanta, they say, Francis, Rupert, John Klein, at that moment of glimpse, the so-called awakening, that's more like 30% of the path. And then one still has these residuals of ignorance. One still has the patterns, the gravity of the unconsciousness pulling us down. One may still have some deep down, unresolved trauma that keeps coming up with some weird thoughts snagging at us. So they say that now there's a post-awakening sadhana. It's not that that's the end. No, it's still sadhana, the practice. It's post-glimpse sadhana to keep cleaning this. They are seen by awareness and they're diminishing just by being seen. And in my profession, sometimes some of them are really stuck and deeply down, so they may need a little washing machine cycle, so they loosen up. Yeah, but so that's the post-awakening sadhana. The effect of it is to keep cleansing the body-mind from the residual of believing to be a person, and to free oneself from laws, and then the end of the goal, which is very noble and far, is liberation. Yeah, so awakening is not liberation, and all the goodies are more like on the liberation side. And in the fourth way, they have this. They don't throw awakening right away like this. There are stages. There's a man number 4. To become a man number 4, it's already a great way above the overall level of humanity. And then man number 5, number 6, number 7. So this mature, realistic progression of this is like from a seed, from an acorn to an oak tree. And also this has an energetic, alchemical component in the fourth way. I believe in a yogic, a non-dual tradition too. There's all kind of things need to happen at the subtler body